Hello, I am in London. That is Buckingham Palace right next to me. And today we are going to talk about styles of leadership that tend to have very polar aspects to them, meaning that people will typically fit into one or two or the other of extremes. There's rarely someone who falls in the middle. There are some people who lead teams and they are sticklers for rules and protocols and following everything. And then there's other people who are total cowboys. Okay? Now, I tend to fit in with the cowboy pretty clearly, and because of that, I make sure that I don't do business with someone who I don't trust. The reason for that is I will do many business deals on a handshake, and I'm cool with that. Now, somebody who falls into the other side of the equation typically will never even consider a handshake deal, but at the same time, they don't do the same due diligence that I do. I make sure I can trust people before I actually do any business with them. And if you got a contract, you usually trust that you can enforce the contract, but the reality is that doesn't always work out. Now, what I also do, knowing that this is who I am and how I manage, I also try to team up with someone who fits on the opposite end of the polar spectrum there. Okay, I try to find someone else who is a stickler for legalities and protocols and stuff like that, so they balance me out. So when I want to do something that's clearly not necessarily the best choice, they say, no, this puts us at a legal liability, don't do that. You gotta have that balance. You gotta have the cowboy and the rule stickler, the safety Sally, they say. Okay, now that's one aspect of leadership, is how you generally, your general outlook towards business management. More focused on people management, you have a lot of aspects that are very polar in the styles of people management. The big one is people who do the good cop, bad cop thing. Are you the good cop or are you the bad cop? It's pretty clear actually when you say it that way, right? Alright, why are people doing that? Is there no way to get over this thing? I hope so. Otherwise I'm gonna do that next. Wait, hold up. Yeah, that continues. Oh no, you can get in over there. Okay, London, man, it's pretty cool. Alright, so now, if you are doing a good cop, bad cop thing, usually it works out that the bad cop generally builds respect from his direct reports because he is giving some form of tough love. Now, it doesn't literally mean love, obviously, it's your employees, but it's usually people, the good ones anyway.
Yeah.
What's that say? Pretty cool. It's usually people who build respect because they command respect. Okay, there's also the bad cops who everyone hates them, and that usually doesn't work out well for team morale. I'm talking about all my examples in this video are about building positive teams where where the employees like working with you and enjoy the atmosphere, and they have general trust in the environment, which yields the best results in your teams. Okay, psychological safety is the official term for that. Okay, they build psychological safety, which leads to higher productivity. Now, what is the good cop side? How does the good cop build respect from the people that report to him if it's not going to be through tough love? It's usually from some form of camaraderie. Wow, look how beautiful this is. Should I go through the park or the street? Park, street, park. All right, got to do the park. All right. Okay, now the good cop will typically build a camaraderie with the employees. Buddy. Now the problem with that is, what happens when you get a lazy employee who takes advantage of the niceties of that good cop leadership? What do? How do you manage that when you have someone who's taking advantage of someone's nice side? Obviously you can sick the bad cop on them. That's cheating though. I'm talking about, how does the good cop manage the position they're in effectively? Well, a lot of times it ends up being passive aggressive. That's a side effect of being a good cop when you have a, wow, beautiful bird. Good cop when you have a bad employee with a good cop scenario. See, in the bad cop scenario, you don't have that. When they're lousy, you straight up tell them they're lousy, and here's what you got to do to become better at what you're doing. Here are the expectations that are set forth for you. Oh, these are cute geese. They're so adorable. Here is the expectations set forth from your role. You are expected to live up to that. If not, there are consequences. That is a bad cop way of putting it. It's straightforward. There's no beating around the bush with the bad cop role. With the good cop, if you do that, and you have a crappy employee, oh my God, this is a beautiful geese. Duck, I don't know what that is. It's kind of in between. There's another one here, same coloring. Hey guy. If you do that as the good cop with a bad employee, they will typically find a way to talk their way out of it and to try to take advantage of the situation. So what the good cop leaders tend to do is become passive aggressive, meaning they'll start to undermine that employee because there's no other real way to get through to them without becoming the bad cop on the spot, which doesn't usually work well when you change sides. Now, you could have different roles and be bad cop in one and good cop in the other, but if you're leading the same people, it doesn't work. You have to be consistent. In fact, in order for the psychological safety thing to work out, you have to be consistent in your management style. Look at this beautiful creature. Oh my God, it's so big. And he's not afraid. Hello. Hi. He's not even afraid at all. It's adorable. Okay. Now, for psychological safety, it's important to have a consistent style. You can't be good cop today, bad cop tomorrow. If you do that, you're going to end up with animosity from your employees because they don't know what to expect. People want to know what is expected of them in their role. They want to have direct knowledge of what they need to do well, and the good employees will do well. Okay, if you don't do that, if you make it vague and they don't know, then you can't blame bad employees for being bad because you didn't drive them to be good. You have to have a clear expectation of in every project, what is expected from each employee. Are you expected to conduct a project every day or complete a project every day or every month? Or what? What is the deadlines of what you're supposed to do? That has to be set forth. People need to know what's expected of them if they're in an employee's role, not a leadership role. Now, why is all that significant? It all comes down to company morale. Now, if you have an organization and you have people working for you, you want everyone to be happy. They put the best work forth when they are. Look at this thing. Neat. It's pretty cool here in London. All right, you want everyone to put their best work forward. In order to do that, they have to have psychological safety, which has lots of principles that make it up all together. Psychological safety, the principle of that is you can depend on your team. Your team is led by the leadership. You are the leadership. If you are watching this, that you want to be a person who's dependable and consistent in your style. Your style can be harsh. You could be that tough love bad cop, that's okay. You could be the buddy one if that's not your nature, that's okay. But you have to have ways to deal with a lazy employee. You have to have ways to deal with underperformers. Oh, they're feeding the ducks, it's cute. You have to have all these things planned out in your own mind because you're gonna have those things. You're gonna have that manipulative employee who says, yeah, let's go out for drinks, boss man. And then at the same time, he's not doing his work in the daytime. That's the only happens with good cops. Bad cops, they're afraid of you. So I personally typically take the bad cop, but my employees tend to love me, honestly. All right, the people I've worked for, who are in my life as an employee, they don't usually love me. But the people who have worked for me, I have left on good terms with almost all of them, other than the ones I've terminated. Look how cute he is. This is easy to get distracted here in London. All right, other than the employees who I've terminated, I've left on great terms with all of them, many of whom I've employed in multiple roles, meaning I've changed companies and brought them with me. Okay, so they really love me. I've given them their financial sustenance for a good chunk of their lives. Some of them I've started their careers. My tactics work. Now, oh my God, I can't stand the amount of distractions, but they're so cute. Look at the size of that thing. It's huge and adorable. All right, anyway. And they're just wandering around. They're so adorable. Okay, anyway. It's important to have a psychological safety for all employees, no matter which side of that pole you fit on. Now, if you want to, just a reverse example of why it's important to be predictable, it's and why it's important that you build this knowledge of what is of expectations. Let's take the reverse extreme example of how not to build psychological safety and rapport. If you want to just completely kill the morale of an employee, which by the way is a tactic used by the good cops when they want someone to quit. This is a tactic for, I've seen this done, it's terrible. It will kill the morale of anyone and make them quit. Check this out. Let's say, I'm going to throw a random example that's really simple example, but you can apply this to pretty much any work, anywhere. You tell someone, dig a hole right here, and fill and take all the fill that you pull out of that hole and put in a big pile right over here. And then you wait for them to finish it. And when they're done, you do nothing with that hole and you tell them, okay, now take all that fill you put here and push it right back into the hole. That will kill the morale of anybody and drive them to leave. If you want a more real-world example, since most people don't really do hole digging unless you're a grave digger or in construction, all right? Walk into any fast food joint, restaurant, whatever it is, order something, and straight as they give it to you on the counter, while the person who just made it can see what you're doing, drop it straight into the trash can. Watch that guy get so aggravated. Now, mind you, you paid for your food. You're entitled to do that. It's so demoralizing. Nobody wants their work to have no value or meaning. You know, think about how bad that would feel if you just cooked up a meal, someone paid you for it, and they just didn't touch it, they didn't taste it, nothing. They go pick it right off the counter and drop it straight into the trash bin. All right, you gotta make sure that the expectations from employees are set forth and they know why they are doing what they're doing. They should know the results. A lot of businesses hide the end results of of an employee's job from them, meaning they tell someone, program this module if it's computer programming, and they don't tell them what the module is even supposed to do. Here's the inputs, here's the outputs expected. Wow, what a way to rip a person's brain apart and just make them numb to what they're doing. You want to tell them, we need this module because it's going to support the security and the safety of our employees when they log in the morning. Or I'm just making up a random example. If you don't tell them why they're building it, you can't just say, oh, they're getting paid, they'll build it. Well, yeah, they will for a certain amount of time, and they'll hate you and they'll leave their job. That's what happens. All right? I'm leaving the park at this point. Beautiful park, my God. Okay. Oh, look at his Rolls Royce coming. That is a thing of beauty too. Wow, that is a Cullinan, I think. Yep, I believe that was. Okay, now, when you build this psychological safety, whether you're the good cop, the bad cop, the cowboy, or the stickler for rules, you gotta make sure you have all the scenarios covered in your situation. Don't assume that there's a good cop and a bad cop in every situation. You have to take the roles of any scenario, whichever side you take, and don't switch sides within the team you are building. Now, mind you, I said before you could have a different role in different scenarios, but not with the same employees. Meaning, if you have two different projects and one is a team that's offshore and one is a local team, it's okay to be the good guy with the local team and the tough guy with the offshore team. But one set of employees got to be the same way, consistent throughout. Wow, these buildings are like towering on both sides of me. Very beautiful here. All right, I was hoping to maybe walk to Big Ben while I'm shooting this video, but I don't know if that's gonna happen. We'll see. Okay, so now, people now, need to know what they're getting from their job. If they do, and you have this consistent consistent approach, you really can build solid teams of people who trust you, people who stick with you for years to come, which is what you want. Or you want to help them move to their next level of their career, and that's okay too. Different people manage teams differently, but some things just never have no gray area in the middle. And it's important to recognize where you fit within those elements. One of the key points that change whether you're good cop or bad cop is how you deal with confrontational people. The good cop will typically try to do some Tai Chi and go with the flow of punches, all right, and try not to actually absorb the impact of negativity, but rather let it flow around them and divert it. The bad cop typically takes a bulldozer approach, which can work if you are like a tough guy, okay, a regular John Wayne. That can work, but it doesn't always work better. In fact, that's one aspect that I'd say being the good cop tends to work better. The good cop will often just agree to things that they don't agree to and then do it anyway because it's something that the person is being confrontational about, and rather than confront them, they just do what they want anyway and then deal with the consequences. It's a different tactic with the good cop versus the bad cop. All right, that's one of the main differences in how you approach things. Good cop, bad cop. Good cop tends to be passive aggressive. Bad cop tends to be like serious, bad guy, tough guy, John Wayne, General Patton. And you know what? There's places for both of those styles. I happen to favor one over the other. Most people do. Most people are very favored to one or the other. But realize whichever one you pick, there's repercussions and there's weak points and strengths. Okay, when you deal with challenging people who are in your face as the bad cop, the tough guy, the John Wayne, it's troublesome because you end up butting heads. The good cop walks away and no one even knows he did anything until he screwed the guy royally over because he deserved it. Whether you are good cop or bad cop, there's no right or wrong, but there's definitely weaknesses and strengths with both. That's Big Ben, I think, under all that scaffolding. I'm not sure. There's so much scaffolding over it. There are side effects to every aspect of polarization. Some are positive, some are negative. It's important to recognize what your negatives are and know how to deal with them functionally and appropriately. And anytime you manage people, because managing people is not easy. There's lots of emotional issues, lots of personality differences, all sorts of stuff. It isn't easy to lead people well. However, if you're good at it, your whole company ends up succeeding because of that. People like what they do, and that's a real advantage over having people dislike you as a leader and just doing what you say and leaving you as soon as they have a better opportunity. You get no loyalty that way. So, all right, I'm done. Signing off from beautiful London. Unfortunately, lots of construction going on here. But hey, you know, so be it. All right, thank you all for watching. See you in the next video. Like, subscribe. Oh, it's noisy here. Like, subscribe, share, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you all.